Hi guys, my name's Tia and I'm a freelance makeup artist. If you'd like to know how I created this look, then keep on watching. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to apply is TATCHA the water cream, and I'm just going to apply that all over my skin as our prep. Okay, so next I'm going to apply the Nars Illuminator in shade Hot Sand. And this is just going to give us a really nice glow to our skin. I really quite like a matte skin, but I like that glow coming through underneath. Okay, so moving on to eyes, I'm first going to use the Nars concealer in Custard, and I'm just going to put this all over my lid. I am then going to blend that in with a Sephora Pro contour brush. You don't have to be neat with this at all. Next, I'm just taking the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I'm just using patting motions to push the product into that concealer just to set so that it's ready for shadow. Okay, first for eyes, I'm just taking Makeup Geek shadow in shade Creme Brulee. Don't know about anybody else, but does anyone else have that, like that one shadow that they use for absolutely everything? This is mine. I always start a makeup with this colour. I have 3 that have all been used in my palette. So I'm just buffing that just above my crease and into my crease a little bit. Okay, moving on from my favourite shadow, I'm just taking MAC's bronzer in Give Me Sun, and I'm just going over that Creme Brulee shade ever so slightly, and I'm pulling it into the front of my brow as well. And I'm just going ever so slightly more into my crease just to create that depth. Okay, next I'm going to be using the Natasha Denona Gold palette. This palette is so nice. I always just use shades Teak and Log, and they're going to create the depth in our outer corner and the socket area. So taking the shade Teak from the Gold palette, I'm just starting to build up the colour in the crease. I'm just taking a tiny amount of product. I'm then going to take Log, and I'm going to add that only to the outer corner. And then just taking the shade Aria in the same palette, and I'm just going to lightly dust over the top just to make sure there's no harsh lines and just make that blend like really seamless. Okay, I'm then taking the shade Verice from the same Gold palette, and I'm just placing this where that dark shadow ends and into like the inner corner. But I'm not going all the way in because I'm going to put a lighter shimmer shadow there. This is just like a really nice dark brown shimmer, so you've got that light to dark blend, and it's going to be really nice and seamless. The next shade I'm going to take is Carver, and this is like a really nice gold shimmer shade, and this is going to be placed right in the inner corner and ever so slightly over the shade Verice. You can just keep building that up depending on how much shimmer you want. Okay, so taking the shade Teak again, I'm just going to run this across my lash line. I'm going to be doing more of a smudged liner. Don't want anything too harsh. So this shade's just being pressed in. Then taking Log, and I'm pressing that into the lash line as well. This is just going to darken our lash line. Okay, I'm just going to use a tiny bit of black shadow from the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Remastered palette. I'm just taking it on a really tiny thin liner brush. I'm just kind of stamping it on really close to my lashes because, like I just said before, I don't want like black really high up. I want that blend of the brown. But I'm just using this really close to my lash line, just so that when we put our lashes on, you've not got that separation because the lash band's going to be black. Okay, so next I'm just taking MAC's pencil in Costa Riche, and I'm just applying that to my inner waterline. I'm going ever so slightly like through my lashes, so it does go a little bit onto my lower lash line, because then I'm going to blend that out. Right, with no product, I'm just going to buff that out. I'm then going to take creme brulee. So the same as what we did on the top, we're going to do underneath. So I'm just going to use creme brulee just to blend those edges. And then using Teak, I'm just going to place that on my lower lash line as well. Then I'm just using Log, and I'm going really close to my lash line. And then I'm going to go in with Log again, but on the thin liner brush, and just go over the waterline, just to set that liner. And make sure there's no gaps in between your lashes. I wiped away this side, so I'm just going to wipe away underneath on this side. And I always tend to like pull my eye upwards just to give my eye a little bit of a lift, because my eyes are quite round. Okay, so I'm just going to curl my lashes. So I'm now just taking the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, just going to run that through my lashes. Everyone pulls that really funny face, don't they, when they're doing mascara? Okay, for lashes, I'm taking Lashes Elegance Lash in Becca. This is such a nice lash. Because my eyes are quite round, I want something that's more winged, so it's going to lift my eye. These are perfect, really nice and fluffy. I've been using Lashes Elegance since I started makeup 4 years ago. The lashes are just amazing, and I think they completely make a makeup look. I've just put duo glue onto the lash band, and I'm just going to place that on. Okay, for skin, I'm just taking the MAC Studio Sculpt. I'm taking NC42 and NC25, and I've just mixed those. And I'm just going to use this on a Sephora Pro Flawless Airbrush brush. And I'm just going to get a good amount all over my skin first, and then I'm going to go in with my beauty blender to press it into my skin. I'm then just using my beauty blender, and I'm pushing that product into my skin. This way it keeps your foundation really looking like your own skin rather than like a layer on top of your skin. I'm now just going to take Nars Creamy Concealer in Custard, and I'm just going to place this under my eyes, down the centre of my nose, up onto my forehead, tiny bit on my cupid's bow and on my chin. And then I'm going to use my beauty blender to blend that all out. Okay, so now that's all blended out, I'm just going to take the Chanel bronzer, and I'm just going to start to warm up my skin. So I'm going to place this on my forehead, and I'm going to do my cheeks as well. I always quite like the end of my shadow to mix almost with this. Feel like it really lifts your eye. And then I'm just going to do my cheeks. This is really, really nice to blend. For those that struggle maybe with like contour, this is a really nice alternative. It's really soft, doesn't go on really harsh, doesn't go on really dark, and it's so easy to blend. Okay, then I'm just using the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate palette. Just going to darken my contour ever so slightly. I don't like really harsh contour, so that Chanel bronzer for me is perfect, but then I am just going to deepen it ever so slightly just on my cheekbones, just to give me a little bit more definition. But I'm not using anything too harsh, and I'm just using a really light touch as well so that the product doesn't go on harsh. Okay, so now I've finished with cream products, I'm going to take my Laura Mercier powder and I'm just going to set that concealer under my eye. I'm also going to set the centre of my forehead and down my nose. I'm going to ever so slightly bake. I only tend to do this if I'm going for like a full night out glam. Don't bake on a day-to-day basis. But it is nice, obviously, just to brighten your under eye. My skin can get a little bit oily, although it has been a bit dry at the moment. I'll just do my smile lines as well. I don't really bake there, I just push that into the skin. And the same on my chin. Okay, whilst that is baking, I'm just taking MAC Give Me Sun and I'm just setting those areas that we used the Chanel bronzer. If I've used a cream, I'll always use a powder on top to set. And I'm just ever so slightly with a smaller brush going to go down either side of my nose. Then for blusher, I'm going to take MAC Gingerly. I'm going to go a little bit peachy with my blush, and I'm just placing this on the apples of my cheeks and up into my contour. This just gives your cheeks a lift by going up into. Then just dusting away the Laura Mercier powder. I've got nothing on my brush whilst I do this, but then I am just going to take the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder in shade 2, and I'm just going to press this ever so slightly on top of the Laura Mercier powder. Just brings a little bit of colour back to your skin, because the Laura Mercier, from baking, it can make your under eye go quite white. This just then makes it look a little bit more natural. Okay, for highlighter, I'm then just taking the Natasha Denona Tan Bronze and Glow palette, and I'm using this really nice gold shade here, and I'm just going to apply that to top of my cheekbones. I'm going to put a tiny bit on the end of my nose, a little bit on the bridge. Then just on a smaller brush, I'm just going to apply this under my brow bone and in the inner corner. Okay, so for brows, I've done this one, so I'm going to show you how I do this side. So I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow in Soft Brown. And I always tend to start with like the tail of my brow, and I just use really light hair strokes. I never pick up loads and loads of product. I pick up like a tiny amount and just keep building. I like quite a structured brow on myself, quite a straight brow. I like my brows to look really neat. Okay, so that is brows done, and then I always just go over them with the Laura Mercier translucent powder. Just helps to set them, and it kind of gives them a more natural colour. Just takes away any harshness. Okay, for lips, I'm taking MAC Strip Down Liner. I'm just going to line our lips. Okay, I'm then just taking Myth by MAC and just kind of pressing that into the centre. This is quite a pale nude, so I don't want it all over my lips. Like that. And then the Tom Ford lip gloss in shade Naked. Just to finish, I'm just going to take my Kat Von D Lock-It spray and spray my skin. I hope you all enjoyed this look. If you have any other questions, head over to my Instagram. I'm also posting more tutorials over there as well.